Hello and welcome to part 3 of our video series on how to use the MOBI and Workspace software with the Army JROTC curriculum. My name is Steve Huff. In this section we're going to cover specifically some Workspace activities that we've created for the Army JROTC. The Workspace software activities have not yet been developed for a lot of your lessons in the Army JROTC curriculum, but just a few. This is kind of a primer just to show you a proof of concept, but we might be developing them in the future, and we'd love your input on it. The Workspace software is the disk that comes with your MOBI board called Inner Right Workspace. You can see that I have the icon here in the upper left. And when you launch it and run it, you get these tools, and you can customize that toolbar. And I'm just going to show you a few different activities that we've built. I'll start off here with a uniform activity. This is one that was built from a simulation that Khaki developed for Army JROTC. Let me actually show you that simulation first. It's very nice. It looks like this, and some of you might have used this before. So it's called Uniform Scramble, and when you click on the male cadet there, you get various parts of the uniform that then you drag and drop onto that cadet. So there's the white t-shirt. We can put the uniform shirt on. Here's the black belt, and once you put the black belt on, you get various parts of the uniform that then you can put in the correct location. And you can see if you don't put it in the correct location, it will hop back over here to the left-hand side. So let's put on his name tag. Tells us that it's correct. The ribbons, I'll put the gig line there, the shoulder cords. So you can see that's a very nice interactive application, and when you've completed all of the correct answers, it will tell you that you are correct. So it's nice, it's interactive, but it's really designed, at least in this format, primarily for one student, one computer. You could be showing this in front of the class, but it's really more of an individual activity. So what if you want to use that in the classroom with multiple students? Well, it would look something like this. We've built this out, and this is called Uniform Activities in Workspace. So you can see the instructions are to move the correct uniform parts to the proper location, and the answers are on the next page. So I'm just going to use my MOBI here with the arrow tool and move the various parts to the correct location on the uniform. So multiple students could be doing this, or it could be just the instructor, and you're just demonstrating it either way. And you can see here's the ribbon here. We can rotate that a little bit to get it looking a little better. You can rotate or resize that. Here's the name tag. We'll rotate that over a little bit too. Put that in the correct location right there. There's the school pen. So you can see it's just like that flash activity, but this is now for the classroom. Students or instructors can be doing this activity up in front. So if you want to see the correct, is that correct? We'll just go to the next page using this green arrow here, and we can compare that with our answer and see that that was correct. On the next page, you can see we have that same activity, but with a female cadet. Same kind of activity, and there are the correct answers. Then here we've taken it kind of to the next level, where this was an idea from an Army JROTC instructor out of Denver who said, could you do that same thing but with the ribbons? So in a scenario, this cadet maintained a grade of A in all academic subjects. What ribbon should he get, and put it in the correct location? So you can see all these objects here are movable. You can move those objects. So here's the correct one right here. We'll just put that in the right location on his uniform. And then we can see on the next page, was that correct? Sure enough, that was the correct answer. So just another way to build out those activities. Here's yet another way we've done it, but we've used multiple boards in this sense. So either with the MOBI Learner system where you have learner boards, or you can use multiple teacher boards. This is called the sandbox mode. I'm just going to move Squad 1 and Squad 2, and I've just named my boards, Squad 1 and 2. And you can see I have the leaderboard here at top. So when I click on OK, I now get multiple boards active in the space at one time. So you can see I have little icons here, and I'll put them both on arrow, and I'm just running still from the teacher pad. I can turn those students off, so they're ready to go, but I've disabled them so they can't write when I don't want them to. So you can also then move these ribbons at the top, you see those are movable, into the correct location. So right now I'm just doing it as the teacher. But what if you want to then collaborate? So we can have multiple boards, and I have two boards here that are active, and I'll pull up my, I hadn't turned them back on right down here, so they weren't active yet. So I've turned them on here. So now both those boards, you can see, are moving around the screen at the same time. So they can grab various parts and move them at the same time on the screen. And that's what creates the collaboration. They might both want to put them down here, and we say, no, you really need to do that, and they're having a discussion while they're doing it. So you can see those multiple boards are active in the space at one time. So they can have discussion, they can be working in teams to do that, for example. And then when we're ready, the teacher can say, okay, let me take a look and see if you got the correct answer. So that blue box just hides the correct answers down here, and we can say, hey, that looks pretty good. Oh, wait a minute, we have one mistake. These two are in the wrong location, so let's make that correction here. So in that way, it's no longer passively observing. The students are active in creating content at the same time. So let's take a look at another activity. Oh, by the way, when we change, so I'm going to change from the uniform activity, and we'll do a general military ranks activity. It's going to ask me, do you want to save the changes? Now, typically in programs, you are saving because you've made changes and you want to save those. Now, when you're using Workspace in the presentation mode, you want to say no because you want that activity to go back to its original format. So we'll go ahead and put on no there. And you can see here, this is a drag rank insignia activity. So we have the Air Force here. We can move it down into the correct location. Here's a couple different ones we have for Navy. And the students could be all doing this at the same time in that sandbox mode that we looked at before. Notice these objects, by the way, are not cut and paste, but copy. So I'm dragging this, but there's still another one for me to drag, and I can drag an unlimited number of those. So we're showing that you know, the general and the colonel go in several different boxes. So we can move those around. Here's the Army. Leave the Army down there. This would be the same here. We'd go in multiple boxes. We can move the Marines down over here. Did we forget one here? Oh yeah, the colonel goes down over here. So then when we're ready, we can then pan down here and see, let's see if we got those correct. So take a look and say, oh, looks like we did. Oh, looks like we had one mistake here. We missed this one. So we put that down in that location. There we go. So just another way to use movable objects to create content. So it's not like PowerPoint where it's passive. This is an active activity. So let's change to another one. Here's a brace map. So no, we're not going to save that because we want it to go back to its original. And in this way, we're showing a list of terms about the branches of the U.S. government. So we don't want the students just to memorize the terms. We want to have them show us how those terms relate to each other. So it's a drag and drop activity. So that branches of U.S. government goes here. You know, they might move the executive here, judicial, legislative, and then realize, oh, wait a minute, we have two other sections. These should probably be moved around. So now I'll now move those to their correct location. So we can now put the House of Representatives and the Senate where they should go. So that's the brace map activity. Now on the next page, you can see we've done that same activity, but we've now made it a collaborative one where the students can now change. You have Squad 1 and Squad 2. So we click on OK. And again, those pads are now active, and we can turn on the pointer device, and they can move those objects at the same time. So let me show you that. So you can see again we have two boards active on the screen at the same time, but they can't get in each other's space, so they can only come so far. So we'll have this one grab the branch of U.S. government here and move it to its correct location, but maybe this group has the wrong answer. So they're now seeing that in real time. They're seeing the example of how did group 1 do compared to group 2, and they can have some discussion. So this group can start to realize, oh, wait a minute, we better move that around because we're seeing what the other group is doing. And they're collaborating and having a discussion about that in real time. So same activity that we had on the first slide, but on this one it's more collaborative. Now let me show you another activity around battalion organization. In this one you can see we put the instructions typically in the blue box, and the following pages provide activities to demonstrate your knowledge of the battalion organization. Notice that we do have the full battalion organization here, but we hide it because we're not sure if the instructor might want to show this at the beginning of the activity or not. If you don't, then you can keep it hidden. Here's the first activity. Now this one's a little different, where we're actually allowing the students to annotate. So you can see, write the initials of the correct location. For example, CG for color guard. So it's kind of hard to write, color guard into that one little space. So you can just put CG for color guard here. You could put BC for battalion commander. So we're not giving them the objects, we're just having them write the terms that they remember into those spaces. On the next activity, you can see we have created one with the object. So in this case, we give them all the terms, and it's sort of like a matching activity, but with more detail of the organizational chart. So they might put battalion command sergeant major here, and battalion commander here, and then there's some discussion about, no, that's not correct. Remember, the battalion commander goes up here. So they're collaborating and discussing and building that out in real time. So that could be multiple boards all at the one time. It could be just one board and having discussion about it. And here's the correct answers in just the top half, because there's only so much real estate to work with here. And then we have that same activity for the bottom half. They could write the initials in here, or they could do a drag and drop activity on the bottom half of the organizational chart. And there are the correct answers for the bottom. Then on this slide, you can see that they could pan around. So we have put the entire chart here, but it's movable using the pan tool. And then finally, again, we've created that same activity, but now we've made it interactive. So we have squad 1 and 2. We've made both boards active. We'll put their pointer tool on so they can move. So now you can see this activity says these labels are in the wrong location. Move them to the correct location. So again, we have two boards active on the screen at the time, but they can only stay on their side, and they're moving those at the same time. Maybe this team gets it correct here. This team is still confused, and they're having some discussion about it, but they're moving those objects at the same time. So that's just a little bit about some workspace activities we built out for the Junior ROTC curriculum. Using these tools, you can build out all your own activities. They're not limited. These are ones that I just built in about a day, and you can make your own. Now, how would you get some training on this? This is obviously just a briefing, not so much a training on how to do this. So let me show you the website, what it looks like. So at einstruction.com, you come to our main website, and you can see all the different tools here at the top. What you're going to want to look for is programs and then product training. It's the fifth one down under programs. Then you'll get a site that shows you different manuals that you can download. But here's training online videos. This is what I want to highlight. So you have software training videos. Here's on Workspace. You also have hardware training videos. So for example, if you wanted to learn about the MOBI or MOBI view, you can click on that one. And down here it's going to give you various videos on a lot of what we've just covered here, but in much more detail, so you can get into the software yourself and start creating your own collaborative activities with your MOBI. Thank you so much for your time. That's the end of our video series on using Workspace and MOBI with the Army Junior ROTC curriculum. If you have questions anytime, feel free to give me a call. My name is Steve Huff. My number is 720-261-2597. Thanks again for your time.